Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy, Michael Cosby. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Cosby, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida, too. Mike Cosby, 561-441-2730. A ride.
This episode is brought to you by McAfee.
Swimsuit, passport, phone, with VPN activated.
VPN?
Cell phone service is going to be spotty on vacation, so we'll be using public Wi-Fi.
Sounds sketchy.
Exactly. The networks can leave your personal info, like credit card numbers, exposed to hackers.
McAfee's secure VPN lets you browse and bank safely from wherever, whenever. Learn more at McAfee.com/online protection.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, we have just been listening to the president's address to the nation. And I want to take your calls to hear what you thought of his 18-minute speech. I thought it was epitomizing the Energizer Bunny. He was rapid fire talking. Rapid fire also talking about all of his accomplishments. And there really is a lot. But it's like two different worlds. Since the speech ended, as you know, just a few minutes ago, you should listen to what CNN was saying, defending his unpopular economy to the nation, shouting, screaming at them. What planet was CNN on? I said this earlier to John Katsimatidis that Trump could solve cancer and they'd still have a problem with that. Although if you listen to all of the accomplishments, it really was stunning. 8 wars in 10 months, talking about sealing the border. He certainly did that. Bringing safety back to the nation's capital. Talking about that over the last 8 months, 0 illegals allowed into our country. That's remarkable considering what President Biden did to our nation with that wide open southern border. And then also CNN and MSNBC or MSN Now, right, I guess, they've come out and they're saying, how could he be blaming Joe Biden? Are you kidding me? They're saying he's blaming Joe Biden for the mess he inherited, as if President Trump didn't inherit a wide open southern border. I mean, that's shocking. If you get suddenly 20 million people in your country, which President Trump says he believes it's upward of 20 million that came into our country, and they take a huge toll on your economy and national security and a whole bunch of things, you're darn right he has a reason to talk about what the past administration did. That's an incredible, incredible comment. But the liberal media will never give President Trump a break. He also is clearly the best communicator for the Republican Party. And I think the best communicator in America in terms of a politician. There is no doubt. I mean, you think about it, Joe Biden would have lasted 18 seconds, let alone 18 minutes. It was rapid fire, but it was also, I think, effective. And I think it was a powerful reminder that President Trump is on it. President Trump is focused on affordability and on national security. He is clearly making those two big hallmarks of his success. And he also says he wants to do obviously a lot more when it comes to affordability issues. He says he is absolutely on it. And President Trump also saying that he's going to be busy this next year. There is no doubt that next year, Susie Wiles, his chief of staff, said she's going to treat it like Trump 2024. In other words, he's going to be out and about on the campaign trail every which way he can, because he truly is the most effective communicator. He truly is the person who can share that message and maybe potentially keep the House of Representatives, especially both chambers, in Republican hands. That would be an enormous accomplishment, because if he doesn't, guess what? And typically they don't, obviously. If you look at the history, typically the party that's in power does not stay in the House of Representatives or the Senate. Usually there is a turnover, especially in the House of Representatives. But you know darn well that if the House of Representatives becomes in Democratic hands, they will start looking to impeach President Trump and his whole cabinet in some form, probably within minutes. And if the Senate goes, you know that they will try to remove him. Remember, it's the House that impeaches. It's the Senate that removes, because this Democratic Party is not the Democratic Party of Bill Clinton and not the Democratic Party of common sense Democrats. It is so radical, so far left, so extreme that they're going after ICE agents, calling them Gestapo, going after police, calling them Nazis, and yet will not do anything that seems to be, I think, in many ways, to the benefit of the American people. They were willing to shut down the government for weeks for political reasoning. This is trouble, guys. This is a mess. And President Trump knows it. And that's why he is laser focused. And he will be going to town to town to town next year, trying to keep those chambers, the Senate and the House, to keep in Republican hands. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. And you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Here's a little bit of President Trump saying, make America great again is something he will continue to live with. This is cut number 5. And this is President Trump saying he is prioritizing what's good for the United States.
In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again.
And President Trump said there are lots of things to tout as historic under his tenure already. In less than a year, the border is sealed, and that's a big impact on America. He touted that.
A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens. 100%.
That's a big tout. 100%. That's a big number. And also talking about the effects and the costs of illegal immigration, not just obviously on national security, law enforcement, but financially. Think about all the hotel rooms that migrants have been put up in, the cost to cities, billions upon billions of dollars. And also this week we heard 18,000 terrorists, known and suspected, came into this country under Joe Biden. That's nothing to be proud of, President Biden. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Robert in Brooklyn. Line 2, what'd you think, Robert?
Hi, thanks for taking my call. Well, I think the president was short but on target. He He made some of the points he wanted to make. And, if there's anything he needs to add, he could always give another address, like the State of the Union is going to come up. But I think this is an important address. Now, in terms of immigration, it's indisputable. He has been spectacular, closed the border, and also 2 billion people have left, most of them voluntarily, but 2 million out of the 20 million. He said 25 million tonight, but 2 million left. So tremendous credit for that. Now, the thing is the problem with the economy is that, it's a tale of two cities. For example, when he talked about we got like $18 trillion invested from foreign countries, first of all, the question is, well, who's the money going to? You have Elon Musk got $1 trillion. So a handful of people, they're super rich, trillionaires, billionaires. And a lot of people, it's not necessarily easy to afford to pay for food and for health care and for rent and stuff like that. Now, I know John Catsimatidis mentioned that turkeys, and for some reason in New York, the price didn't go down. So now, I don't know. We have callers like Joaquin in Pennsylvania, Dom in Minnesota, Reggie in Texas, Eduardo in Tampa Bay. How are the prices for you guys out there? But I don't know. Now, I'll tell you this much. When he talked about the Fed chair, he's going to replace the Fed chair and get the interest rates down. That's a double-edged sword because there are people, senior citizens, who depend on interest, to supplement their Social Security. You cut the interest rates, the CDs are low, you have less money earned in the bank, unless everyone's going to just put in money into stocks. But now, can I just mention one thing about the Islamic situation?
No, you can't, because Robert, we got so many people on hold, but I will love for you to call another time because I always love hearing from you, Robert. You are so great, and I think you're so insightful, and I think you hit on a lot of good topics there. But the Islamic situation is a mess, and I say thank goodness we have President Trump there in the White House being able to handle it. Can you imagine if we had Joe Biden at this time with all the attacks in Australia and everywhere else? What a mess. Let's go, if we can. Let's go to Tommy in Elmont. Go ahead on line 5. Tommy, your thoughts tonight.
Good evening, Rita. Rita, I don't understand why we have to give anyone permanent status that was born in another country. Their visa should be temporary and should remain temporary. And then if they commit a crime, they're gone.
Now, that's an interesting point. Why do you believe that? Listen? I hear what you're saying. It's a powerful point and certainly highlighted by everything that's happened of late. And I do think there should be reviews. The reason I'm hearing you, but also kind of hesitating slightly. I'm a first generation American, and the reason I say that, we have had a lot of really bad folks who have come into this country that have done harm to this country. But we've also had so many great folks who've come into this country and made America amazing. And by the way, I'm going to say, hold on a second, Tommy. I'm also going to tell you that also my parents could not wait to become American citizens. When they saw New York Harbor, they cried. And when they became American citizens and signed the documents, they said it was one of the greatest days of their entire lives. So if you have immigrants like my parents, and you have immigrants like probably a lot of our parents, then it makes the country better. I wouldn't have minded, by the way, and I don't think my parents would have minded. They're sadly no longer with us, but I don't think they would have minded if there had been checks, every X years to make sure that people still love this country and appreciate this country. But you think never give them citizenship, right?
Well, unless you create a time limit that's years. I've never been arrested in my life, so I would be able to stay here forever.
Right. And by the way, me neither. So that makes 2 of us. That's good.
Well, so why would we? This way, we have a path to get rid of people who came here with a bad intention.
Yeah, I like your point about having people feel like they have to love this country and be on guard, because you're right. If you start giving away citizenship, as you're talking about, it really does kind of cheapen it. I'm not talking about you. You're actually doing the reverse, but I'm saying the way it's happened in this country and the way that, Joe Biden was giving out, citizenship and giving people temporary status too, also, which is separate, but allowing them to stay in this country unvetted, unchecked, come one, come all. And the reality is we have now what they believe are at least 18,000 known and suspected terrorists. That's a minimum. So I like your idea of sort of checking in and holding people accountable. And maybe after X amount of time, or maybe they get citizenship, but it could still be revoked if they don't do XXXXX and still stay on the straight and narrow. I think it would make people much more attentive, much more concerned, and much more appreciative of the greatest country in the world, and that is America. And I know, Tommy, you agree with that. Tommy, thank you. Really interesting point. I think there's probably something that could be done to be a checks and balances for people coming to this country, this great place, and not taking advantage of this country, loving it, and giving back to this country. 1-800-848-9222, 848-9222 is the number. And I can't wait to hear more of your thoughts about this incredible speech tonight. I thought it was great. I thought it was effective, and I thought it shows President Trump is fighting for America, and he is going to be 24/7 in 2026.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Take my word for it. I live there. Come to Florida. Get pre-approved right now with my guy, Michael Cosby. Call him at 561-441-2730. He's got Choice Mortgage and a great real estate team. Get pre-approved right now. Michael Cosby, 561-441-2730. Buy in Florida right now. Don't wait. Save money on state taxes. Make your move today with Choice Mortgage. Trust me, Florida is waiting. This guy's so good, he did my commercials in Florida, too. Mike Cosby, 561-441-2730. All right.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana lets you buy your next car on your terms. Explore a massive inventory online, filter for what matters, and find your perfect match. Then choose delivery to your home or pick it up at one of Carvana's iconic car vending machines. Every car also comes with a 7-day money-back guarantee, so you can make sure it's the right fit. Buy your car on Carvana. Delivery or pickup fees may apply. Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.
Carvana. Hi, it's Eva Longoria, and let's be real. After 40, we should ask for more from our skincare. I swear by Revitalift Triple Power Moisturizer by L'Oreal Paris. With vitamin C, pro-retinol, and hyaluronic acid, it reduces my wrinkles, firms, and brightens. And it's not a procedure. It's just a hardworking moisturizer.
Revitalift Triple Power Moisturizer by L'Oreal Paris. Grab it today in fragrance-free or with SPF 30. Available at your local Walmart.
Retirement isn't just about closing out your career. It's mornings that begin with a sunrise instead of an alarm, and the freedom to live the life you've always dreamed of. With a New York Life financial professional, you'll have the guidance to make it real, so your years of hard work become the life you've always imagined. Your life, New York Life, more powerful together. Start today at nyl.com.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And let's continue with your calls on this big news night. President Trump addressing the nation. But CNN and MSNBC, well, they're saying he's defending his agenda. Are you kidding me? Think about all the things he has accomplished. He cited just a few of them. Didn't even talk about too many of the other things. You look at even the war on drugs that he's taking with Venezuela. There's a lot to talk about. And yet, I guess Joe Biden walked on water, according to MS Now. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Larry in Brooklyn on line 5. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, Rita, as good as Trump is doing, I really think he's not going far enough. And I'll tell you why. Because I think a lot of people, a lot of migrants are taking advantage of the sanctuary city laws, and they're deliberately doing things to undermine neighborhoods, good neighborhoods. And, this country is not going to stand if good neighborhoods fall even within these sanctuary cities, because there's going to be turmoil and chaos. And I'll give you an example.
All right, actually, do me a favor, Larry. I'll hold you over because we got a hard break here, but stay on, and we'll continue with Larry after the break. But I think your point's an interesting one because sanctuary cities are a disaster. And guess what? Mondani's coming in January 1.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... there, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
At IKEA, your dreams can come true. Well, maybe not the ones where you're being chased by a monster. We're talking about kitchen dreams. And there are IKEA products and solutions for all of them. Whether it's a whole new kitchen, a statement glassware set, or just new cutlery. If you got big dreams or small dreams and any size of budget, IKEA can help you bring them to life. Visit IKEA.us/dreamkitchen to learn more. Dream the possibilities.
This is a real good story about Bronx and his dad, Ryan, real United Airlines customers.
We were returning home, and one of the flight attendants asked Bronx if he wanted to see the flight deck and meet Captain Andrew.
I got to sit in the driver's seat.
I grew up in an aviation family, and seeing Bronx kind of reminded me of myself when I was that age.
That's Andrew, a real United pilot.
These small interactions can shape a kid's future.
It felt like I was the captain.
Allowing my son to see the flight deck will stick with us forever.
That's how good leads the way.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. You know, one of the perks about having 4 kids that you know about is actually getting a direct line to the big man up north. Mm-hmm. And this year, he wants you to know the best gift that you can give someone is the gift of Mint Mobile's unlimited wireless for $15 a month. Now, you don't even need to wrap it. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment coming from Caroline County, Virginia, where state police saw a state trooper saved a Maryland man from a burning vehicle in Caroline County. Now, it happened amidst winter weather, very dangerous ones, and road conditions just recently when a 34-year-old driver from Maryland who was driving his 2024 Tesla on the interstate when he veered off the road and he struck a tree. Virginia State Trooper Sergeant S. Page, who was traveling on I-95, spotted the vehicle, incredibly, and immediately stopped to check on the driver just as the Tesla burst into flames. The trooper ran up to the car. He saw that the doors were still locked and he couldn't get them unlocked or open. He heard a guy in the car, ended up having to bust the window down. The officer broke the window. He cut the airbag and he pulled the injured man to safety just in the nick of time. The driver then was transported to a local hospital with very serious injuries, but he is expected to survive thanks to the great work of Officer Page. Think about that. Incredibly, he said, literally, it happened seconds before I pulled up. Had I been driving on the other side, I don't know if anybody else was going to stop or be able to see where that vehicle was. Really incredible. And boy, that driver has an angel, and his name is Officer Page. And everybody, we're talking about President Trump. He talked about cracking down on crime tonight and the effect that he has had on the nation's capital. Here he is talking also about what he has done in less than a year. And I'll get to your calls. I'll get to Larry in a moment. But first, here is President Trump briefly summing up some of the big things he's done in such a short period of time.
Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen.
And that's how he summed it up. He said, wages are up, prices are down, the nation's strong, the border is secure. That's a pretty good legacy after just 11 months. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And you are listening to The Rita Cosby Show. Let's go back to Larry in Brooklyn. Go ahead, Larry.
Okay, I think he's overstated the state of affairs. My father used to have an expression, a chain is as strong as its weakest link. Well, in sanctuary cities, the weakest link are neighborhoods, good neighborhoods that are falling prey to people that are trying to destroy them, and they may be migrants. For example, I live in a very good neighborhood in Brooklyn, right? And you'll get somebody coming and right in the middle of the street on a beautiful day and smoking a big fat joint and smelling up the whole street with very powerful noxious fumes. Now, the police can't do anything because it's legal under Cuomo. The devil incarnate made something like that legal. But Trump could do something because it's against federal law. So Trump could deputize ICE agents to come in if these people are migrants and they're deliberately trying to undermine the cohesiveness of decent neighborhoods by doing something so antisocial, albeit it's technically legal. Trump could send his ICE agents to intimidate these people. Now, if these people happen to be citizens, they could also do stop and frisk.
Wait, so Larry, hold on a second. Let's just be real. I mean, you're talking about if somebody's smoking a joint, and by the way, let me just for the record, I can't stand it either. So I'm with you. There's not a single day if you walk down a major city in this country, including New York City, that you don't smell a joint. And I can't stand it, too. I hate it. And I worry about people getting behind the wheel who've been smoking joints. You see some of these delivery drivers that smell like one big smokestack of weed. That's not a good sign either. I mean, there are just so many things, okay? But you're sitting there saying they're going to spend ICE. We have 18,000 known or suspected terrorists in this country. And you want ICE to go after people who are smoking weed in a lobby of a place? Larry, give me a break.
What do you mean give you a break? I told you the chain is as strong as its weakest link. You get all these terrorists and criminals out of the country. If the neighborhoods fall in this country because of the sanctuary city policies, you're going to have chaos, okay? Trump should go into the inner cities and do what the police in the inner cities are powerless to do, and he's got the federal marijuana laws that are still on the books. The Supremacy Clause says they trump any local jurisdiction. He can lock people up for smoking joints in public. And if that's going to get the migrants, the antisocial, anti-American migrants off the streets trying to undermine our neighborhoods, I don't know if they're citizens. If they're citizens, then it's just as bad. I would say intimidate those people too, because domestic criminals, it's not all about foreign terrorists and migrants. It's about evil people that should be stripped of their citizenship, that hate this country and that are citizens of this country. And I see it every day. And those people need to be intimidated also.
Yeah, well, by the way, I'm for that second half. And again, I'm not a fan of marijuana. I think it's destroying so many people. It's different if it's for medical marijuana. There are people who are in tremendous pain. And there are people who do it, I guess, in their homes as safe and sound. They're not out on the street. But when I see like a homeless person who smells like a marijuana factory, that's not a good sign. So I hear what you're saying. The problem is that you just hit it on the head. There are so many other really big, serious things out there that you were listing. And they've got their hands full with that. I mean, I brought up the suspected terrorist list. There's also murderers. There's rapists. There's child sex offenders. I mean, these are the worst of the worst. And if you put it all together, it's about 500,000 people. And they have just hit the tip of the iceberg when it comes to that. What President Trump talked about tonight was 2.5 million people have been deported, about 2 million self-deported, about 5,600,000 deported. Okay. But some of the worst are still here, Larry. So I guess my point is I actually prefer that he focuses on the worst of the worst But I hear what you're saying. The people that don't love this country, that don't respect them, this country, it's sort of the broken windows theory that if they're doing something else, it sends a powerful message. But I also would like them right now to really be focused on the worst of the worst. Don't you understand? That's a lot of people, Larry.
Okay, I want to make one final point. I want to tell you, listen, we are breeding criminals in this country. If we deport all the foreign criminals and we're breeding criminals in this country, those places will be taken and we will accomplish nothing. You can't just focus on one thing. You're saying you prefer the focus. No, you can't focus on one thing. If you have to double the force of ICE, you have to focus on the fact that criminals are being bred in this country, and it's just there. And the migrants and the domestic criminals are melding with each other. They're teaching each other. They're learning from each other, and they're all really one. You can't just go after someone because he's. And what are you going to do? Ignore the guy who's a citizen that's doing the same thing as a foreign migrant? He's raping, he's murdering, and just because he has citizenship papers, you're going to ignore him because the cities are ignoring them. We're turning them loose.
I'm not saying ignore him. Did you hear me say ignore him? I didn't say that.
The feds have to pick up the slack. No, what you did say, Rita, was you want to prefer to focus.
Yeah, because guess what, Larry? Guess what, Larry? No, listen, you hear me. Guess what? If there are this amount of really dangerous people, if somebody said, would I like to go after a jaywalker or a murderer? Guess what? I'll pick going after the murderer every time. I'm also a realist, Larry. That's the thing. I'm being realistic.
Listen, nobody's talking about jaywalkers here. We're talking about murderers of equal import, okay?
You were talking about people smoking pot. You were talking about people smoking pot. I'm not. To some people, it could equate to jaywalking in some places.
That's not a jaywalker. That's somebody who's destroying a neighborhood. How could you even draw the comparison?
Well, you make it sound like they're mass murderers if they're smoking pot. And by the way, maybe if they get behind the wheel, they are. I'm not discounting it, Larry. But what I am trying to say is there are so many really horrible people in this country that came into this country. And the last thing you want is one terrorist, let alone 18,000 terrorists. That's an enormous amount. And I just feel like that is where our focus needs to be. Unless, you look what two madmen, a father and son of all things, in Australia did just recently. We cannot have that in this country. I think you and I can both agree that that is an enormous threat. And radical Islam, Islamic terrorism, all of that is top priority and has to be top priority. And fanatics within this country. You talked about some of the ones that were born here. You look at also the domestic threat of what happened the other day. We just arrested 4 people that were planning mass attacks on New Year's Eve. They were building a bomb when the FBI luckily swooped in on them. And they were planning mass attacks on like 5 different locations, all on New Year's Eve in Southern California. I'd consider them a threat. And so I'm with you that, I don't like that either. And I think at some point certain things need to be enforced. But I also really want to see the worst of the worst get out of here. I'm afraid with limited resources, you don't want to be distracted. If we can quadruple the force, that would be a great situation. But in the meantime, if we have limited resources, I certainly would like at least repeat serious criminal offenders. And I mean serious. And I think we can both agree on that. Larry, you're great. Always love hearing from you. Let's go to Jan in New Jersey on line 1. Go ahead, Jan.
Hi, Rita. You know how you mentioned Kassem the other night?
Yes.
Okay. I looked into him because when I first heard about him, it's like something's wrong with this guy. For one, he's from Syria. He's a big-time anti-Semite. He's a Paul and Daisy Soros Foundation New American Fellow. Okay? He worked for Joe Biden when he was president. He worked on the Immigration Advisory Committee. And then, like I said, he was a CUNY Law School professor.
Yep. And you're talking about, of course, Ramzi Kassem, right? This is the guy who represented Al-Qaeda terrorists.
Yep. And that's what I was saying. And he represented those guys, too. This guy is bad news. Like I said, in this Paul and Daisy Soros Foundation, All you have to do is put Obama's name in there, Biden's name, and you'll see all these so-called new fellows, new Americans that come from different countries, how they're destroying this country. They're embedded within our government, like Damian Williams. He's another Soros New American Foundation person. And they are. And Merrick Garland had them working for him. Obama is using them to push his global agenda. It's amazing. And I felt like we're doomed.
Now, Jan, let me ask you, because this guy, the reason you're bringing it up, and I'm glad you're going back to this because it is important. This guy, the CUNY law professor, City University of New York law professor, Ramzi Qassem, who represent a lot of bad folks, including al-Qaeda terrorists, looks like he is set to become the chief counsel for Mamdani starting, in January. That is frightening. That is frightening. The chief counsel is a very pivotal and very influential role, and you pick somebody like this, right, Jan?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. He's a big-time anti-Semite. Like I said, he's from Syria, and it's unbelievable how these Soros people are permeating our country, and he's one of them. And I don't understand how he can be in this country, and he's a horrible person.
Well, I will tell you, I've heard a lot of people say that about him. I'm glad I don't believe I've ever had the unpleasure to meet him. And I also am just hearing some really concerning things. Like you just said, the anti-Semitic stuff especially is really troubling. And here he's supposed to be the chief counsel in a city that has the biggest Jewish population outside of Israel. And I'm glad you're spotlighting it, Susan. And it's really trouble. And the more we need to spotlight this over and over again, and all the people around Mamdani. And that's why it's important that good people keep this guy in check. Speak out. Thank goodness we have President Trump, and let's see who becomes governor, right?
Well, just like you said, go on that Paul and Daisy Soros Foundation, and you just put anybody's name in there, like Obama and whatever, and you could see all these new American fellows that they brag about bringing down Trump and everything, and all the transgender doctors and everything. It's horrible.
It's horrible.
And that's why if they want to control all this stuff, they need to shut down every single Soros Foundation, because they're the ones that are destroying this country. As a matter of fact, George Soros is the one that was pushing the legalization of marijuana. He's been doing it for years. And look, everybody's being dumbed down by smoking marijuana. So, like I said, the Soros, all the family members, they need to shut down all these foundations and all the links to them, because they're bringing in all these people that hate America, hate all the good stuff going on, and they come from horrible countries.
And they are pushing a lot of these protests too, Jan. I mean, that's the big deal too. Pushing so many of these protests. You often hear of Soros-related groups tied to a lot of these crazy protests that are happening. And that is an enormous concern. And I'm worried about that under Mamdani. And especially if you got the chief counsel for the city who's a fanatic, guess what side he's going to fall on too. 1-800-848-9222. We will continue after the break here on The Rita Cosby Show.
The Rita Cosby Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Introducing Meta Ray-Ban Display, the world's most advanced AI glasses. With a full color display built into the lens of the glasses, it's there when you need it and gone when you don't. Send and receive messages, translate or caption live conversations, collaborate with Meta AI, and more. Be one of the first to try Meta Ray-Ban Display. Visit meta.com/Meta Ray-Ban Display to book a demo and find your pair.
Say hello to the all-new Alexa Plus and see how Alexa can do so much more for you. Need tickets to see your favorite artist? Craving your comfort restaurant? Just sit back, relax, and talk naturally. Alexa's on it. It learns your style, anticipates what's next, and makes it happen across Echo, Fire TV, and more. Learn more at Amazon.com/new Alexa.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. So Netflix is basically Santa this year. 2 NFL games on Christmas Day, streaming live. At 1 p.m. Eastern, it's Cowboys, Commanders. Then at 4:30, you've got Lions, Vikings. Midwest football, playoff stakes, and probably some snow. Watching holiday football is a tradition the whole family can enjoy. Open some gifts, grab some food, settle in, and watch NFL Live on Netflix this Christmas Day.
Looking for the perfect gift? Blink has you covered. With a Blink security camera, you're giving the gift of peace of mind.
A camera? Isn't that hard for them to set up?
It's simple to install anywhere, and they'll always know what's happening at home.
Okay, that's actually perfect.
Perfect indeed. Give the gift of smart security with Blink so they can check in on home from anywhere this holiday season. Shop now at Amazon.com/Blink.
This is the Rita Cosby Show.
And coming up on the Rita Cosby Show, we will continue talking about President Trump's powerful speech tonight. Also, Brown University. I can't believe these people. They just put out a new video a little bit ago of yet another suspect that they say could be potentially tied to the case. And they still don't have a clue, it seems. Very bad, poor surveillance footage. And it looks like Barney Fife to me is running the investigation there. And that is a sad testament. And also, Rob Reiner's son appears in court looking like it may turn out to be some sort of mental insanity defense. But will it work? We'll just talk about that. And obviously, President Trump's big street address to the nation. 18 minutes. By the way, I was just hearing, too, that some of the networks were telling the president that he has to keep it to about 15 minutes. That is what some of the networks are reporting, that the word was, we'll break in, we'll carry it, but you got to keep it to around 15 minutes. Well, he did pretty close. He kept it to 18 minutes. So no wonder he packed so much in those 18 minutes. It was like Evelyn Wood speed reading, but the verbal form. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Bill in Upstate on line 4. Bill, your thoughts tonight.
The best presidents in my lifetime were JFK, Ronald Reagan, God rest their souls, and Donald Trump. They all helped American veterans. And if we want to help American veterans, support Cause of War in Long Island, VMCLAI, and Dr. Esposito and Dr. Powell, Richmond Valley Animal Practice.
Bill, you are speaking even faster than Donald Trump did, but I heard Cause of War, and they are a great organization. Let's go to Susan on line 3 in Corning, New York. Go ahead, Susan, your thoughts.
Well, I love Donald Trump. He's being very proactive and getting ahead of, to the whole midterms and all that. He's stating the facts of his accomplishments, which are many. There's just like, I really felt like I was waiting to hear something. I have a background in like the investment business and economics, and that's so important. And because I listened to WABC Larry Kudlow religiously. Okay, the last 2 quarters, the gross domestic product under President Trump of 3.8% last quarter. This coming quarter is going to be that or potentially 4%.
Yeah, Susan, I hear you. And listen, President Trump says this is a big boom for America.
Thanks for listening to The Rita Cosby Show. You can hear The Rita Cosby Show weeknights at 10 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Listen to this podcast now on the Red Apple Podcast Network. The Idea Gen Global Podcast with George Sifakis.
I'm George Sifakis. In a world overflowing with noise, there is one forum where the world's smartest voices connect, where visionaries sit at the same table as innovators, and great minds don't just talk, they act.
Download all of Red Apple Media's podcasts right now through your favorite podcast platform.